All right, Capricorn, welcome to your monthly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for November of 2015. My name is Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you're new to this type of astrology, do check the description down below for more information because your sign might be different. And Capricorn, what I'm going to start doing for these monthlies is instead of talking about all the specific aspects, the minor aspects, I'm just going to focus on the major aspects as well as any planet transitions into houses and the new moon and the full moon. This will give a much more holistic perspective. And then if you want more detail into the month, do check your weekly for that particular week. All right, so let's have a look, Capricorn. So first things first is on the 1st, we've got Venus and Mars conjoining. And right when they conjoin, interestingly, they go into Virgo right at that same time. So here, this conjunction, yin, yang, masculine, feminine, merging together and going into your house of travel, of adventure. Now, this isn't necessarily literally travel as in, travel of, going to overseas, adventures and things, but it could be for some of you, but more so, generally it's of your life path, your life view, your philosophy, your spirituality, things on that level. And naturally through that, there's a lot of motivation here. This next, couple months with Mars, the next about month and a half with Venus, a lot of drive, a lot of ambition, a lot of enjoyment to be had as well, regarding maybe even connecting to nature, maybe even doing some travel, some shorter long distance travel and that kind of thing that I think you can really enjoy for these next month and a half. So lots of motivation there, lots of drive. This is all part of the life path energy for you actually, because you've had this North Node transiting this ninth house of yours for the past 2 years, and you've already had a new moon here, and a lot of focus is already on here at the beginning of the month. So that's the 1st through the 4th. Then on the 5th, the sun does go into your 10th house. So there's the shift into the career or legacy part of your life here. And starting with the sun on the 5th, then Mercury on the 10th. And then you guys have a new moon here in the 10th on the, on the 11th. And so there's new seeds being planted. There's new beginnings taking place with your career, your legacy, your public life, public image, things like that. And it's very practical. I think you're thinking quite a bit about that, or can be this middle part of the month, very focused on it, which is good. And then as the month unfolds, there's more of that energy available for that. And in about 6 months, I think you'll be, for those of you who put that energy in, as you Capricorns normally do, I think you'll be quite surprised with the results of your career stuff that you accomplished during this time period. So that's quite nice. And as you can see, the sun and Mercury is very well aspected this month as they transition into that 10th, which is good. So there's definitely support there, or just the, there's just an opening for that. So one thing I want to say too is that from the 1st to the 8th, Jupiter's still transiting your 8th house. So there is a lot of expansion for the transformation, for depth, for openness, for sharing the truth about things, whether it's of the world, yourself, the vulnerability, maybe your relationships, the depth there. But it's very positive right now with Jupiter. It's expanding it. And all of that's very healing. So I do recommend connecting on that deeper level, whatever that means for you personally, transformation, healing, all of that, which has been, opening for you. And all that will be very healing with Chiron. So I think from the 8th through the 9th and 10th and onward, there's this rejuvenation that takes place with the depth, with letting go of any kind of fears and inhibitions about, certain things in life or whatever. But again, it comes easy with Jupiter. And really for the next year, it's just facing fears. It's, going into the unknown. It's being open, vulnerable, deepening your existing and new relationships. And that's really where the opportunities are for you Capricorns. Also removing yourself from debts and that kind of thing also. All right, so that's the first half of the month. And then on the 18th, this second half of the month, we've got Neptune going station direct in your second house of finances and material values. So what's interesting is that when Neptune does that, Neptune squares up to Saturn, your ruler, at that same time within 1 degree. So this is going to be a very long transit because it's a very major transit in the transit perspective, and that's going in all the way into December. The high point's going to be on the 26th. So here it's with maybe the uncertainty and the doubt that's been going on for many years, maybe with the financial or material aspects of life. Here, squaring up to your ruler Saturn, it's really going to emphasize that having the faith there, having the trust there, because the square is an energy that's not as easy to work with. But if you can find that way to really tap into that faith there, that everything is unfolding in a divine process, and really connect to your values, really be grateful for what you have in your life, etc., then this becomes very constructive, especially in regards to anything that you might be working on, that you might consider an organization, a group, a network that you're a part of or starting or something like that. Maybe there's uncertainty about that, but continuously, with Saturn, who recently went into Scorpio, your focus, I think, is just more on the more group stuff, the networking stuff. And so, don't shy away from that. With Saturn, as you know, we want to work hard at it. We want to really discipline ourselves to maybe network or connect or whatever, make friends, new friends, continue with existing ones, that kind of thing. And maybe even make more income from your work, which is a big emphasis of the 11th house also. But following your wishes, following your dreams can come into fruition with Saturn here. But, as you got to work hard at it and be disciplined with it. Maybe there's a lot of uncertainty about it this month. But the more willing you are to work with that uncertainty and continuously grow on that level, then that's the best way to work with this square that I found. So that's the second half of the month, really emphasize on the 26th. So as you approach the 26th, you'll find that energy becoming sort of new and experiencing. And then from the 26th onward, it's just easier to work with because it just makes more sense at that time. And then on the 21st, leading up to that, we've got Mercury going into that 11th. So this month in particular is very mundane in the 11th house, in the sense that it could be a month for you to do that networking, connecting, focus on gains from work, etc. And again, it's taking it seriously though, because Mercury is going to conjoin up to Saturn, see things realistically on that level, but not more realistically than how they actually are, in the sense that it becomes dense. And there's energy here too. So when you are networking or connecting to your friends or whatever, there is this drive, there's just energy, this prana available through that. So it's a good month to do that, second half anyways. And all this is going to be new beginnings for you here shortly, next month when we have the new moon. So that's the 24th. Then on the 25th, we do have a full moon in Taurus, which is that fifth house of yours. So your self-expression is coming to a high point. So for those of you who've been working on either your self-expression, creative projects, some of you maybe had a new child, a new family member in your life, or a new romance or something like that. There could have been an existing relationship that's become more romantic perhaps. This is now a culmination point of that with the full moon in the 5th. So seeing that, being aware of it, but it's not, it's a very long-term energy, because it's going to be opposing up to Saturn and Mercury and squaring up to Neptune. So it's seeing it, you're aware of it. It certainly can be a culmination of that, but there is some hard work, maybe there is some discipline, perhaps some maturity there in that regards that can be brought into that, as well as the uncertainty and flow and faith and trust, especially in regards to those physical values that will be needed to really work at this and ground it, because it's all about your self-expression. It's all about you expressing yourself. And with all this 11th house activity, which is about the group, it's finding how to express yourself in the group. And how, when your self-expression really comes alive, is because you're connected to something larger than self. With Saturn, maybe you're taking seriously that's larger than self. And in that way, you really balance these two axes of the chart. So that's the 25th, and on the 28th, Chiron does go station direct, so a lot of the things relating to maybe the financial stuff or whatever that's maybe been reflective or going through a sort of reworking over the past 6 months, all of that energy you'll start to notice moving forward here, especially in regards to your values in life, now that Neptune and Chiron are going direct this month. Then on the 29th, Mercury does go into a fucus, so, for you Saturns, it's your, networking, the group stuff, your hopes and wishes and all that. It's something that's very deep. It's meaningful. It's transformation. There's always healing that takes place in the process too. So now Mercury going one step further in going into a fucus is that through that and through your communications, there is this sort of healing and rejuvenation process taking place in that area that can be very fruitful, can feel very good in this process, and that's going to be a process taking you into December as well. All right, Capricorn, so have a great month. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.